Blake Lively's lawsuit, Justin Baldoni's defamation case, Megyn Kelly's takedown, and Ryan Reynolds' fortune at risk. Hollywood turns on Blake as shocking allegations surface.
So she's a serial fraudster. That's called fraud. None of it was just due to the fact that she seems like a rather shitty person. She is accused of having turned the whole cast of It Ends With Us against Justin, wrested his movie away from him, and decided to try to hurt him with petty, made-up, out-of-context complaints.
For years, she's been seen as Hollywood's golden girl, but now that carefully crafted image is falling apart. Accusations of manipulation, fake harassment claims, and a multi-million-dollar legal war have left her career in jeopardy. Megyn Kelly just obliterated Blake on live radio. Candace Owens is exposing her tactics, and even Taylor Swift, one of her closest friends, might be backing away. The evidence against Blake is mounting, and the internet is watching her downfall unfold in real time. So what really happened? And is this the end of Blake Lively's career?
In Hollywood, my own position is she's absolutely ruined her brand. She has started a fight she cannot win. She does appear like an Amber Heard to me. I've yet to see one of her complaints borne out. In fact, all of the ones I've seen have been undermined by his hardcore proof in text messaging and so on that puts a totally different light on her horrific allegations. Then you see what she actually said and wrote. It's very different. She called herself Khaleesi and said Ryan Reynolds and we believe Taylor Swift were her dragons. And she's got the best dragons because they'll fight on behalf of her friends too. Now she and Taylor are reportedly on the outs because Taylor Swift is like, bitch, I'm nobody's dragon. That's unconfirmed, but it's out there.
For years, Blake Lively has been known as the charming actress from Gossip Girl, but behind the scenes, the story is very different. Recent reports claim she's not just difficult to work with, she's a serial manipulator. She allegedly turned the entire cast of It Ends With Us against director Justin Baldoni. According to sources, she made up claims, twisted narratives, and completely hijacked the movie's production. Her goal? To seize full creative control, despite originally being hired only as an actress. But here's where things get worse. Megyn Kelly didn't just call her manipulative. She called her a fraud. And according to Kelly, the so-called evidence Blake presented has been completely dismantled by actual facts. Every claim she made against Baldoni has been crushed by text messages, footage, and receipts that tell a completely different story. And if that wasn't enough, there's now a lawsuit worth hundreds of millions of dollars that could destroy her empire.
I wouldn't reveal that I actually need to have authorship in order to fulfill. They released the cut of the movie. He didn't even get to see it. He was the director of the film, the producer of the film, the guy who got the rights to the film, and the one who's supposed to be in control. He didn't even get to see it. He was in the basement at his own movie premiere. And then she had the nerve, because she had 2 minutes of bad publicity when the film hit, to come out and try to blame it all on him. None of it was just due to the fact that she seems like a rather shitty person.
Blake didn't just make accusations, she went to court. She filed a lawsuit against Justin Baldoni for harassment, claiming he created a toxic work environment and launched a smear campaign against her. But Baldoni didn't back down. Instead, he hit back with a $400 million defamation lawsuit. He claims Blake fabricated everything in an attempt to take over the film and destroy his reputation. And he isn't alone. He's also suing the New York Times for $250 million, accusing them of siding with Blake without checking the facts. That's a $650 million legal war, one that could leave Blake and her husband Ryan Reynolds in financial ruin. Sure, Ryan has Deadpool money, but even Marvel can't save them from this disaster. And the biggest sign that they're panicking? They've resorted to some seriously shady tactics to save themselves.
I think the real victim in all of this is Ryan Reynolds.
I was going to say the same thing.
Like, he's coming home, he's trying to sell some cell phone plans, he's trying to sell some gin, and she's like, I need your help, little dragon. We're going to ruin people today.
And today, we see some evidence now that Blake Lively may have a history of not being upfront when she gets cast in a movie, of her secret desires to actually play a much bigger role than that of lead actress.
Ryan and Blake didn't just rely on lawyers. They allegedly tried to buy support. Sources claim they approached Jenny Slate and Liz Plank, asking them to join Blake's lawsuit against Baldoni. But Jenny saw right through it and refused. And Liz? She got an offer so ridiculous, it's almost laughable. Ryan Reynolds reportedly offered her a role as a bromance expert in his soccer documentary. Let that sink in. A woman with no background in sports or male friendships was suddenly given a high-profile gig, right as Blake's lawsuit needed more support. Candace Owens called it what it was: pure Hollywood corruption, a desperate attempt to gain credibility in court. But even that wasn't enough, because now Hollywood itself is turning against Blake.
And so Liz Plank was a perfect person for them to go after because first and foremost, if you don't know anything about her, I had never heard her name before this scandal. She's kind of branded herself as like the ultimate feminist.
One of the biggest names in entertainment, Ari Emanuel, the CEO of WME, immediately dropped Justin Baldoni the moment Blake made her accusations. Not because Baldoni was guilty, not because there was proof, but because Blake and Ryan are his clients, and he had to protect his golden tickets. He even went as far as publicly mocking Baldoni, calling him baloney in interviews like a middle school bully. But here's the problem: Hollywood can only protect you for so long. Blake Lively has built her career on the illusion of being America's sweetheart, but that illusion is cracking. And the biggest sign? Even her closest allies are walking away. This isn't new behavior. In fact, Blake admitted years ago that she's been playing this game for a long time. Back in 2009, she confessed to poisoning the entire Gossip Girl cast against Penn Badgley simply because she didn't like that he was hard. She openly bragged about it in an interview, saying she turned the cast against him before realizing he was actually a good guy. That's not just immaturity, that's a pattern. And in 2018, sources claim she was so toxic on the set of A Simple Favor that a crew member quit Hollywood altogether just to escape working with her. Now, with It Ends With Us, she reportedly did the same thing. Except this time, her target was Justin Baldoni. She forced her own version of the film to be released, rewrote scenes without permission, and when the movie flopped, she blamed Baldoni instead of taking responsibility. But this time, the public isn't buying it. And that's why her biggest supporter is now allegedly distancing herself. For years, Blake and Taylor Swift have been inseparable, best friends, practically family. But now, silence. Taylor Swift, a PR mastermind, knows exactly how to handle scandals. And if Blake was truly innocent, you can bet Taylor would be standing by her, defending her. But she's not. Instead, she's allegedly backing away, seeing the writing on the wall. And Blake knows it's bad, because she and Ryan are now funneling money into charity donations in a desperate attempt to fix their public image. They're donating millions to random causes, hoping the public forgets about the lawsuits. But here's the thing: Hollywood isn't buying it. Netflix is already reconsidering a major 2025 project with Blake, because in Hollywood, you're only protected as long as you're profitable. And Blake? She's quickly becoming a liability.
Her secret desires to actually play a much bigger role than that of lead actress. Here she is at the 2022 Forbes Power Women's Summit.
I would show up on a set. I knew that they just wanted me to show up and look cute and stand on a little pink sticker where I'm supposed to go and say what I'm supposed to say.
Blake Lively started this legal battle with confidence, expecting to control the narrative and walk away victorious. But as the case unfolds, it's becoming clear that she's in a no-win situation. At the heart of the lawsuit is a massive $650 million legal war, with lawsuits and countersuits flying in every direction. If Blake loses, the financial consequences could be devastating, not just for her, but for her entire brand and public image. Blake and Ryan have built an empire, with their Hollywood careers, business ventures, and endorsement deals bringing in millions. But court cases of the scale don't just disappear, and even the wealthiest celebrities can face financial ruin if the settlements are high enough. If Baldoni's $400 million defamation lawsuit against her succeeds, Blake could be forced to pay an amount that would shake even the richest A-list stars. And that's not even including the $250 million lawsuit against the New York Times, which adds another layer of financial uncertainty. While Ryan Reynolds has significant wealth from Deadpool and his business investments, even his financial resources may not be enough to cover a $500 million loss. If the worst-case scenario happens, their assets, businesses, and even personal finances could be at stake. Blake's legal team had a strategy: paint Baldoni as the villain while presenting herself as the victim. But there's a major problem. So far, they haven't provided any solid evidence to back up their claims. Instead of presenting proof, they've been digging, demanding access to Baldoni's personal records, texts, and calls from the past 2.5 years, hoping to find something that can support their case. But that's not how strong lawsuits work. When a legal team fishes for evidence after filing a lawsuit, it's usually a sign that they didn't have much to begin with. Meanwhile, Baldoni has come prepared. His team has receipts, messages, footage, and behind-the-scenes records that directly contradict Blake's allegations. If the case goes to trial and the evidence overwhelmingly favors Baldoni, it won't just be a loss, it will be a public embarrassment. And in Hollywood, losing a high-profile lawsuit can be career-ending. Even if Blake somehow manages to settle the case privately, the damage to her public image is irreversible. Her name is already attached to this scandal, and Hollywood has a long memory. Sponsors and production studios avoid controversy, and Blake's legal battle has now made her a PR nightmare. Losing could mean losing out on major acting roles, endorsements, and deals that once seemed secure. Netflix, which had plans for a major 2025 project with her, is now rumored to be reconsidering. If more companies start backing away, Blake could find herself in Hollywood exile, with no major roles and no one willing to take a risk on her. For someone who's spent years building the perfect Hollywood image, this lawsuit has done more than just put her in legal jeopardy. It's cracked the foundation of her entire career. And with the internet turning against her, regaining the public's trust may be impossible. Blake has two options: fight the lawsuit and risk losing everything, her money, career, and credibility. Settle and try to rebuild, but that would still leave her with a tarnished reputation and millions in legal fees. Either way, the public has seen behind the curtain. And the reality is, this scandal isn't going away anytime soon. Megyn Kelly shredded Blake's credibility. Candace Owens exposed her tactics. And Hollywood is no longer protecting her. Blake Lively thought she could manipulate her way to the top. But she forgot one thing: people aren't stupid. And now, her empire is collapsing in real time. What do you think? Is this the end of Blake Lively's career? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into Hollywood's biggest scandals.